Hey guys, how's it going? Just thought I'd bring you guys in on what I'm doing now. I actually had a couple of days working on this e-bike. I'm doing lights on it. So yeah, I've been doing this, and there's a whole bunch of different things it does. But I'm waiting for some more lights and some more connectors and stuff. So I was gonna just work on the windshield for a little while. So I had the original chrome. On this one, it's kind of weird. They're like normally the later models, they had a little bit thicker chrome than this, and they had something called super chrome, and it was like an anodized clear. I don't know. These didn't have that, so I was just kind of going, well, you know, I could put new stuff on, but I kind of like the idea of it being original. Doesn't really make much difference, but it didn't really matter. The cost wasn't that much to buy new stuff, but you know, I just didn't want to take the original chrome off and throw it away. And I went, well, what am I going to do with it? So I might as well put it back on. And so yeah, I'm trying to save it. These little marks here are not from the clamps I'm using on here. That's just, they were already there. So there's some bad spots in it. You can see right there, there's no marks from this thing. I just used the rubber. Now, this should have maybe a rag around it when you do this sort of thing, but it's up to you. Here's how I do it. I'm not the best at doing these chrome. I know other guys who do it really fast, and they can put it right in. It takes me hours and hours and hours to do one windshield or one window. So, but if you have no idea how it goes in, you know, I'll just show you how it goes in. You know, I've seen guys just take and just put the stuff in and like nothing. I mean, obviously the guys in Germany did when they built these. So it kind of goes around and it kind of hooks in this little, it like hooks, it's like shaped like this, and it hooks inside this little groove. And it's really hard to get in there, and it's real frustrating. And one of the things that happens is then the glass will come off the windshield, and then you got to start all over again. So yeah, if it comes out of here. So what I do to kind of keep it in place, to bear myself the frustration of constantly having to start over, is I use these clamps. So I'll clamp it to like a piece of wood like this. And what that does is it keeps it from moving around while I'm trying to work on it. So and again, I don't even know if this windshield is going to go back in. It was in pretty good shape, and it's not original. So it had been replaced, and it's not pitted or anything. So I thought, well, I'm just going to run with it and see if I can get it back in there. I don't usually have very good luck at getting old windshields back in, so usually they crack, but we're going to give it a shot. And after 3 or 4 hours of doing this, you know, it's kind of frustrating. So hopefully it goes back in right at the end, crack, right? You know, I'll not be happy if that happens. So anyway, I clamp it in place, and then I just take a screwdriver, and I'll do like this. I'll go ahead of it and use this to kind of open up the groove, and I'll just kind of work it backwards. I'll go back into it this way and kind of push it down, and then push this little part in, and then it just kind of inches along. And you got to be careful because it'll constantly pull off of the glass, and once it pulls off the glass, you'll be lucky if you get it right back on. Usually it's over, and it'll end up pulling the whole thing off, and yeah, you just got to start all over again. Well, it's a wonderful process getting these things in here. I really can't stand doing it. I mean, there's other people that do better. Like I said, Chris, who used to work here, he was amazing at putting the stuff in. He could just, I mean, it still took a while, but he got it done in about a quarter of the time I did. So I'm just saying, definitely there's better ways. But what I'll do is I'll do a little section and kind of use that to hold it. So I went down and got some more clamps so I'd have more of them. And on the oval window one, it usually goes on without too much trouble. The back one, for some reason, that one goes on, and I just kind of clamp it. It doesn't keep falling off. This part right here is where it keeps falling off. So I put that on first because, you know, this is what I do. And then I just kind of get like an inch. It's all the way around. It's actually working better while you guys are watching. It's not all the way in. Once it goes all the way in, it kind of pops in. See, it's coming off right here. I think. I'm just going to show you a little section and then realize that the entire time, at least for me, maybe you guys won't have so much trouble, I'm constantly chasing it all the way around. So it's not easy. Just slide the whole thing over a little bit. Anyway, that's kind of the process there. And I do that all the way around, and it sucks. So I don't think you're the only one that thinks it sucks. I hate doing this. I'm not very good at it, so some guys are better at it than me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition this so it's not hanging off the edge. And I really need it. The reason I clamp it onto the wood is because what happens when you're just pushing on it is you'll just push this edge, this part off. You'll just push it off from moving it around. So if it's clamped down, it's a little easier, but it's not easy. So anyway, I'll keep going. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, well, I'm going to tell you, I've tried to save these and I give up. And I'm going to show you why. On the 54, they're unlike the later models. If you use the later model ones, they're actually thicker than the ones you get from the aftermarket ones. So if you, I don't know what year they changed it, but on this 54, they're actually thinner. I'll show you. I thought they were, and I was like, man, these are just so bendy. So you can see, look at the end of that one next to this one. They're just way thicker. So trying to put these original ones back in, it was just, I don't know how they did it originally. Maybe the rubber was a little bit different thickness or something was slightly different, but these were just way too thin. So anyway, if you have an original car, and you can save your original chrome, how you do it, I'm just going to show you real quick. You take your screwdriver down flat like this and just start working it along, and then bend the rubber down. So if you can get the rubber off the window, like say peel up a little bit of it and then cut through the rubber. If it's really crusty like my old ones were, cut through the rubber and then start peeling the rubber downward as you're pushing the screwdriver, not bending this up. So in other words, you don't want to like do this, pull the stuff out like that. You want to just use something flat and then pry it up so it doesn't bend it. You can get it out and put it back in the new ones, and you know, the stuff's not that expensive. It's not really that, but if you have the original ones, so like on this green car, these are original and they have like a super chrome coating on them. So it's like a anodized super chrome, and they're a little shinier than the ones you get that are aftermarket. So they're really neat to have if you have original ones that are savable. A lot of them that are just not. These ones were really in good shape. So, and I don't know. I know in the square window cars that they were thicker because this is 1960. I don't know what year they started it. So, anyway, that's a neat thing to do if you can use them because they're thicker and they go in a lot easier if they're thicker. So, like if you have an oval window or a 58 or something like that, 58 or 9, and you found yours to be thinner, let us know in the comments. It'd be nice to have other guys know that these are just too difficult. They're just too thin. So we'll just kind of let those go. Unfortunately, not going to be able to use the original ones. They're just too tough to work with. They're just bending. It's just becoming a real problem here. So I'm going to go ahead and put new ones on. I decided to do that once I realized how I think those are thinner, and sure enough they are. Quite a bit thinner. So these should be a little easier to get in the groove. So let's give this a shot, but it still uses virtually the same method. Some guys will just push it right in. I'm not that good at it, but some guys will start in the corner and work their way around. I don't know. I try and find the middle, measure it and get the middle and start there and work our way around. You can do that too. But you'll find that the corners are always a little off. So that's where you always end up having the problem. You see how this is wider? You want to kind of bend it to where it fits. You know, work it slowly, bend it so it fits. Because when you put that chrome in there, if it's pushing out, it'll want to take this off the window and you'll be fighting it. So anyway. Most of these things I've learned, I'm not that good at it. You know, Chris, who worked here, he was amazing. He could do these things like he did those other cars and they came out. Look at how perfect that one looks. Mine didn't look quite as good. So anyway. All right, so it's a lot easier with this trim. That stuff is just too thin. So I kind of work it along, just kind of push it in, go forward a little bit, put a screwdriver in there to kind of widen it up. Kind of move it back and forth. You see it start to go in and then kind of push it down. Yeah, with the other stuff, it would just bend when I did this. It was impossible to do. Just kind of work it back and forth a bit. Make sure it's in the groove. It doesn't come off of there. Nothing quick about it. It doesn't. Give it a little bend so that it wants to go in the right place. Yeah, I tried a couple different screwdrivers till I got one that the smaller one seems to open up the groove just right. Well, it was. I did like 3 inches in about a minute. Nothing easy about it. I'm trying not to scratch it. Good luck not getting any scratches. Just time. That's why I clamp it to the. I clamp the glass down so that while you're doing this, it doesn't move on these flat windows. Back ones, it's a little tricky, but at least you only got one you got to deal with that on, right? So I kind of need this to open up the groove, yeah? Get it kind of hooked. I work it back and forth a little bit. Now it kind of goes in, and push down, and it comes back out. just keep doing that until it goes on all the way around. It's aggravating, but somehow it gets done eventually. All right, so 1 to 2 inches at a time. I mean, open up the gap and then push it in with your palm of your hand. It really is hard on your hands. And putting it in the groove all the way around. And then before you get to the end, you got to put these on. Put it on one end and then slide it over. That's how I do it. And it takes a long time. There's no shortcut that I know of. I mean, other guys do it faster than me, but it just takes what it takes. It takes a long time to put this, to do one window. It took me, the windshield I think is the hardest because, well, it's the biggest, but it's just because of this curve, the inside curve like that. It always wants to come off. So that's why I use the clamps to hold it. The back window, I don't know, it might be the easiest because it is round all the way around. For some reason, when you're turning corners, it seems to go in easier. I've never done an oval window, so I don't know. I'll find out. But the back window normally has curves all the way around it, and I found that one to be easier, even though you'll have issues with it coming off because you can't clamp it. The side windows you can clamp. You know, I just clamp the rubber to the table. That way, it doesn't move while I'm trying to put on the trim. And I just put the little one screwdriver. I used the little poker one. I found this one worked pretty good. Nothing works really good. You go this direction. So if I'm going that way, I will go this way with this, and then go back, and then go forward, back and forward like that, and then pick it out the other side, and then go about an inch. You get about an inch ready, and then push it really hard, and it just goes in the crack. You'll feel it drop in. With the other one, when I pushed it on there, it actually bent them. I don't know if I can show you. It just bent. These things were so lightweight. See, it just collapsed that because it was so thin that it just, I trying to push it in, it just did that. And that's when I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. It's got to get some new stuff because it's not the money. I wanted to try and use original, but it's just, there's no way. That stuff's just no, I don't even know how they ever got it in there. They must have had different, more pliable rubber back then. That's all I can think of. One done. Now, the thing is, will I get it in without cracking it? And that's going to be the exciting part. I'll get some rope and load it up and we'll see. Well, we successfully got the old windshield back in. It was actually in really good shape, not pitted or anything. It's been replaced. I don't know what brand that is, but that's what it is. Anyway. And they are not cheap now. We did, if you notice here, have to get inside and lean on the center section and put it in evenly. It's not because of the metal work or anything that was done to the body. It was because the oval windows, if you get it a little bit cockeyed, it's going to crack. You're going to blow it out. I've already done it. So you always start at the bottom. I always start at the bottom and I get the bottom and the top in evenly and then push on it and then make sure the corners are both corners in. So it took 3 of us. We had one on each corner and one guy in the middle. And then I reached around and pulled the string. So while I was holding this side and I reached around inside and pulled the string enough to get my corner in, and then he just kept leaning on the middle, and then we pushed in this side, did a little bit further around this way, and then I came back out here and put a little bit on this side, put a little bit, and got it evenly in. On the ovals, it's a lot harder than the late models. I've done them by myself. This took 3 people. So anyway, you guys might say, oh, I didn't take 3 people. It just depends, you know, on who's doing it too, who's helping you. You know, if everybody's done it before. You might have 2 guys who are really good, experienced guys who might be able to do it, but it's definitely going to take 2 people on the oval. They just don't like to go in, and the chrome looks really nice. Yeah, I'll get them all in. The side windows in the back I can do myself, but the front, no. I'll talk to you in the next one. So anyway, I figured I'd talk to you guys in the next one. Maybe I'll just make a video on this subject, because there's going to be guys looking to try and put that chrome in, and hopefully I have enough information on this video to be able to help someone do that. So anyway, I'll talk to you next one.